Persistent identifiers and data citation explained. A URL defines a location of a dataset, image, document, video, or any other file which may exist on the internet. But the web infrastructure is dynamic. Content is constantly on the move towards another destination. Most of the time, content doesn't send you a change of address. So, when you come knocking on the former location's door, it is partly empty or has vanished altogether. Here, persistent identifiers come to the rescue. Instead of pointing directly to a URL, you can use a persistent identifier as a single point of entry. Organizations like data archives can register persistent identifiers for their digital content at a registration agency. Subsequently, when a digital object moves, the data archive passes on the corresponding change of address to the registration agency. In this way, the persistent identifier will be coupled to any new URL to which the content relocates. Several types of persistent identifiers exist. In the Netherlands, the URN, the handle, and the DOI, the digital object identifier, are used most. In this video, we will focus on the DOI because we want to emphasize data citation. More and more, research data are acknowledged as a citable product of research, and the DOI is rapidly becoming the internationally accepted standard for making research data citable. What does a DOI look like? How can you recognize it? A DOI consists of two components, a prefix and a suffix. The two components are separated by a slash. The DOI on this slide belongs to a dataset which is present at 3TU Datacentrum, who registered this DOI at DataCite. If you encounter a DOI on a website, it is preceded by the three letters DOI. The DOI itself begins with a 10. The registration agency, in this case DataCite, is responsible for the following 4 or more digits in the prefix. They belong to the organization which registered the dataset. The suffix is assigned by the institution that is responsible for the content and that registered the dataset. We are now going to provide a simple example of both persistence and data citation. This is a data paper corresponding to high-resolution weather radar observations. In the references, there is a reference to the data. All data. This is in fact a data citation. We recognize the structure of the DOI. Clicking on it leads to the URL where the dataset currently resides. Even if this URL were to change, the DOI would remain unchanged. You can always find the data you were looking for through its DOI. Here is a closer look at what actually happened when we clicked on the DOI in the data paper. Copying and pasting the link, we see dx.doi.org was added to the URL. So what is dx.doi.org? Removing the suffix, we see that it is in fact the DOI resolver. Sometimes a DOI fails to resolve because it wasn't linked properly. In this case, you can always visit the resolver itself and fill in the DOI to locate the corresponding dataset. To register its DOI, 3TU Datacentrum is a customer of DataCite. If a researcher deposits his data at 3TU Datacentrum, the staff assigns a DOI to that dataset and registers the dataset and the corresponding metadata at DataCite. In the Netherlands, DataCite is represented by DataCite Netherlands, housed at the Delft University of Technology. In summary, what we have seen is that a DOI resolves to a URL on the internet, and that even if the URL changes, the DOI remains unchanged. This is not a magic trick. It involves the dedication of organizations who care about sustainable access to research data. The organization which registered the DOI has to keep sending changes of address to the registration agency. Having persistent links to research output is a prerequisite for building a data citation network. Once data citation becomes more and more mainstream, a network of linkages between articles, datasets, and other research output can be created. In this way, the effort a researcher puts in making their data available is visible and acknowledgeable. By informing the research community of the advantages data citation has in store for them, we can slowly begin to build a culture where data citation becomes mainstream. We've reached the end of this short movie. Thanks for watching.